Our segment this morning is our opportunity to host our host, the American Gaming Association. And we are here with Stacy Papadopoulos, who is the interim CEO of the AGA. And Stacy, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
This has been almost a triumphant period for the American Gaming Association. It's gone through that evolution of having been originally an organization representing a handful of the largest casino companies to one that broadly represents the entire gaming industry. Right. And the AGA, almost as I don't know if it was intended to be, and you might have a different opinion, but almost as a signature issue, has led the fight for the legalization of sports betting in the United States, and darned if it hasn't happened.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about that triumph and what the AGA's priorities are now.
Right. Well, we've been working on the issue for 3 years, going on 3 years. It started out as a campaign to highlight the illegal market and contrast our highly regulated legal market with the illegal market. And from there, we convened all of the stakeholders and built that momentum. And I think we were lucky with things like DFS and others to really help highlight our message. But May 14th, we were thrilled. It was the best possible outcome we had hoped for, and now we're making sure that this is an opportunity that the industry can pursue, that it's done with the right business terms and the right consumer protection, so it's very exciting.
And one of the things I believe the AGA is doing at this point through this transition from just becoming legal to what will someday be a mature business is taking up the banner now of states' rights and local regulation. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Sure. Gambling has been regulated for many decades at the state and the sovereign tribal government level, and we think those regulators and legislators are best positioned to take on sports betting. And as you know well, here in Nevada, it's been successfully done for many years, and Nevada can serve as a model for the rest of the jurisdictions across the country.
What are some of the other priorities of the AGA?
Well, the AGA has several priorities. I mean, sports betting was part of telling the industry's positive story, talking about how the positive economic impact of the industry, the $261 billion of economic impact and the 1.8 million jobs nationwide. Our other priorities include regulatory reform, elevating responsibility in gaming, and just getting out there and telling that positive story.
Mike Pollock at Spectrum Gaming has, for the past 2 or 3 years, emphasized taxation. What is that a major priority for the AGA? And if so, what are you doing in that area?
So we do address taxation on an ongoing basis, both from a prevent bad policy type perspective, which I think is one of the reasons the AGA was created. But we've also become more proactive on the issue. There was the whole slot tax withholding issue where they talked about lowering the threshold on the slot tax. And so what we've tried to do is show if you would really adjust for inflation, the slot tax withholding amount should be doubled and actually provide a more positive consumer experience. So advocating for things like that in that area is something we're definitely doing. But tax is one of those evergreen issues that will always be on our radar.
Talking about you personally, we probably should have done this initially. Tell us a little bit about your background and how long and what you've done at the AGA.
Sure.
And how you filled in at this interim role.
Sure. I've been here at the AGA 4.5 years. I started out as general counsel, and over the last several years have kind of built my empire here to some degree. I took on operations and my real job is in charge of all of our revenue development. So things like this trade show, member engagement, some of our partnership programs. So those are my core jobs, and since we are a very lean staff in this interim role, it seemed like a good one for the general counsel to lead, and I took that role on. So.
Okay, great. General counsel, my wife's a lawyer too, so I get this all the time.
Oh, good.
Tell us a little bit about the search for a permanent CEO.
Sure. It's been going on several months since Jeff resigned. It's led by a group of 7 members of our executive committee and Tim Wilmot as our chairman. They are a very dedicated and engaged group, and they've met several times, and I think we're in the home stretch. Definitely by the end of this year, if not much sooner. So.
Well, you know, Jeff did a great job, and you know, kind of, again, as I mentioned earlier, he really envisioned and made that transition from a small group to the broad industry.
Right.
You know, and to more of an advocacy organization.
Exactly.
Any other issues that we should touch upon?
I think one of the things that you'll hear more about from us in the coming year is this whole concept of responsibility in gaming. You are familiar with our Get to Know Gaming campaign. What this does is talk about how not only the industry is fun and exciting, but also a responsible industry. We're responsible in our communities through all of the tax and economic benefits we provide. We're responsible to our employees. We have great studies out there of all of the opportunities that the gaming industry provides, both from a jobs and an upward mobility perspective, and then obviously for our consumers, how we're responsible for them, how we address problem gaming head on, but then also talk about how your everyday gamblers can engage in the activity in a safe, positive way. So,
how do you see the public perception of gaming today, say from 4.5 years ago when you arrived at AGA?
I think it is even more of a mainstream activity than ever before. It's in 40 states. I mean, even in the District of Columbia, where AGA is based, is talking about legalizing sports betting. I think there's such great positive momentum now. What we as the industry and AGA need to do is make sure that we're out there protecting consumers, being responsible, and you know, being smart with our regulations.
Okay, any other issues you'd like to touch upon today?
I can't think of any right now, unless you can.
Okay, Stacy, thank you very much.
Yep.
Very informative.
Yep, thank you.